Turkey will go to polls on May 14th. It's one of the most important elections in its post-Ottoman history. The vote is seen as a referendum on the last 2 decades. 20 years of President Erdogan's transformative but divisive rule. Erdogan will put his legacy on the line on May 14th when he faces his challenger Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu in the polls. Polls suggest it could be a tight race after all, with a runoff possible 2 weeks later. When Erdogan first came to power, he was wildly popular, both at home and abroad. The West saw Erdogan's Turkey as a vibrant mix of Islam and democracy, one that they believed could be a model for West Asian states. But Erdogan's drive to capture power polarized the nation. Many called it a lurch into authoritarianism. But if the Turks oust President Tayyip Erdogan, it'll largely be because of an economic reversal, one that saw their prosperity and equality tumble. Erdogan's support has slipped in the last few years, and the main reason for that is the economy, a deepening cost of living crisis, and his controversial policy of slashing interest rates in the face of soaring inflation.
The reason why this party keeps winning is that because it delivered to voters certain material benefits, except for really hardcore voter base. And this is the first time that magic seems not to be working because of the economy, because of the high inflation, increasing cost of living.
Currently, Erdogan isn't as popular as before. He is weighed down by the economic crisis. Along with that, he's battling the social aftershocks of the February earthquakes, the ones that claimed more than 50,000 lives in the country, coupled with the rising anti-refugee sentiment and the brain drain that Turkey is witnessing. Erdogan's chances look bleak. But the Turkish leader remains defiant. Erdogan promises a strong and multilateral Turkey in his rallies. He promises 6 million more jobs and accuses the West of bringing him down. But if anyone can bring him down, it's this man, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. On paper, Kılıçdaroğlu is everything Erdogan isn't. He's a career bureaucrat, he's soft-spoken, and he's campaigning on the message of unity. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu is backed by a broad opposition. 6 parties who are uniting to bring down Erdogan. He wants to steer Turkey back to a more pro-West democratic stance. So how does the vote work? Any candidate that can secure more than half the presidential vote wins. He'll be declared the outright winner. If that doesn't happen, it'll go into a runoff 2 weeks later. So will Erdogan accept the results if he loses? Turkey has a strong tradition of respecting election results. Erdogan's own supporters turned against him in 2019, when he tried to annul the opposition's victory in the Istanbul mayoral polls. Kılıçdaroğlu's party says they will send out 300,000 monitors to polling booths, all to guarantee a free and fair outcome of the elections. As for Erdogan's AKP, leaders seem worried for the first time in 20 years. Many are even openly considering the possibility of a defeat.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony.